Doma Sports Talk, worldwide, with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in no rush to get concussed. Now a little heavyweight news, you know what I'm saying? Brother ain't talking every single day because basically in the world of boxing, you got it. But everybody talking about the same thing, really. It's what people ain't fighting nobody. You know what I mean? Each other. And why are we not getting the fights? Bottom line, like I said before, I know it's pessimistic. 2020, ain't nothing about to be undisputed. You know what I mean? So let's just be real. Ain't nothing about to be undisputed. So let's just get used, like we do, to get happy about other stuff. Like this one I got, this one here. In the heavyweight division. The Oleksandr Usyk versus Joseph Parker fight is starting to make a whole lot of more sense. Kind of hope it happens. We know that Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder ain't going to fight for undisputed. Deontay Wilder about to fight Tyson Fury for at least something, right? For at least something. We'll get to that in other videos leading up to their fight. But that's what's going to happen in February. Anthony Joshua can fight Kubrat Pulev for the IBF or, WBO Oleksandr Usyk, right? He's going to choose Pulev, right? The older, a little bit less dangerous in terms of people thinking that Oleksandr Usyk could possibly outpoint Joshua, right? Beat Joshua. Timothy Bradley, for example, and others have said, that's where the buck's going to stop. He's going to beat Pulev, but when he gets to Oleksandr Usyk, he's going to lose that fight. It depends on what Joshua shows up. Maybe Joshua trying to outbox Oleksandr Usyk would probably have problems there. But to seek and destroy Joshua, I don't know if Oleksandr Usyk can handle all that size. But hey, he's done it before. Ask Joe Joyce. Oleksandr Usyk is undisputed cruiserweight champion. Period. Royalty. I'll keep saying it every time I mention him until proven otherwise. That's just the way that is. So who knows what's going to happen there. So Oleksandr Usyk has been rumored to maybe even fight Chisora. It's a fight that's easy to make. Everybody's at Matchroom and things like that. That's a decent fight because there is a resurgent Chisora. But if you're asking me what fight would be the best one for the WBO, in the interim until Joshua can fight these guys, right, for the mandatory, would be Joseph Parker. He was the WBO champion to facing Joshua. That fight is very arguably. You're looking just for Joseph Parker's standpoint right now. We know Oleksandr Usyk got the mandatory position. He gets the red carpet treatment. I'm undisputed. I beat everybody in their backyard. Don't nobody push up on me. That's how that should be, right? Because we're talking boxing here. No one else is undisputed if the name's not Terrence Crawford, right? No one else is doing. And matter of fact, name me names who's trying. That list is short too, right? Name me ones that are trying. Matter of fact, any big names. We just talked about that. And the reason why I think 2020 will suck. All the big names, none of them are trying to. None. Right? So, undisputed, you'll get red carpet. Period. So, but Joseph Parker, if you can just think of a little empathy in there, think about Joseph Parker. He's about what? 26, 27, and 2. Those 2 losses. Anthony Joshua, fighting in England, of course, no problem there, with a referee that could not speak English. Right? I keep saying that. Could not speak English. He could only say break. Right? Who does that and why? Who does that and why in a championship fight? I don't know. Right? And he couldn't get in the inside on that fight. And that makes it a little bit more significant when you're talking Joseph Parker getting on the inside of a fight with Joshua, who has chin issues that we know. Everyone knows. Those who didn't know and had doubts know that now. Right? Hence, I better get on the outside and stay on the outside against this fat Andy Ruiz Jr. Right? Showing his boxing skills, staying on the outside, getting his inner Tyson Fury on. Right? We saw that. So that's why he wouldn't do that if there wasn't chin issues. Chin issues. So, Joseph Parker on the inside, that's a different fight. If you're letting him get on the inside. It's Joseph Parker with fast hands we're talking about. Other fight, Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte. You get headbutt in round 2 and concussed. Headbutted and concussed. Not only did they count it as a knockdown, which they shouldn't have, right? But you're concussed. And you fighting Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte, mean dude, a whole bunch of rounds. Almost getting Dillian Whyte out of there. Dillian Whyte should have been deducted a point. At least one. But didn't happen. and you still in there, and at the end of the fight, who wanted that fight to end? Let's ask that question. Who wanted that fight to end? Dillian White did, because he was all over the place. Knocked down, but barely made it to the end, right? From a guy that was concussed in round 2. And was, all of the fouls in that fight were from who? Dillian White. Totally supposed to be readdressed. Never was, never nobody even think about it. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Totally should have been readdressed. No. So at the end of the day, when you look from just Joseph Parker's perspective, he ain't lost. And he ain't supposed to be thinking about he lost. He's supposed to be, okay, I can do some things to win, but you can't do nothing about no headbutt, can you? Right? Now he's fighting on their ground, their hometown. That's cool. But he was in both of those fights. And, totally in both of those fights. And both of them should have been readdressed. Right? Joshua for the other reason. Why do you have a referee that doesn't speak no English? No one asked that question. Right? Luckily, they're the only 5 people here subscribe. Right? Whether obscurity talking, but people come here and find out the truth. That's the biggest question no one asks. Who does that and why? So with that being said, Joseph Parker versus Oleksandr Usyk is a great fight when you're talking about Joshua doing something else and going to the IBF. And then that fight happening in the interim is a good fight. And it's a must-win fight for both of them, obviously, because you move on to the next fight. But Joseph Parker would have to win that fight. Definitely have to win that fight. Or, at the end of the day, 3 losses, people don't care why. So that would be a big fight for him. Oleksandr Usyk is a fight that he would have to really, really show his skills to win, right? And since, we know that Oleksandr Usyk has skills, then people would finally realize how much skills Joseph Parker has, right? Because Joseph Parker fought a pretty good and fit Andy Ruiz Jr., right? And he done enough to win that fight. Barely, but done enough to win that fight. So he's right up there. So this is a very significant fight. I think this would be a good fight, a good one. It'd be something that we can kind of look forward to in 2020. Now, I'm not saying that bottom line is it would have been Joshua Wilder for undisputed, and then we get to the next level things after that. That would have been what I would have wanted. But seeing as though I know we're not going to get undisputed, these are the kind of fights that at least would mean something. And it would be a good competitive fight, and both fighters upper echelon in that WBO. It would make sure that the next fight for Anthony Joshua, since he would have to go that route, would be somebody who would be damn sure be ready. You know what I'm saying? Dome Sports Talk. Worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.